Tim, should we tell the listeners how to join the Golf Week Amateur Tour?
Yes, of course. We should probably do it now before we forget, though.
I agree. It's simple. All you need to do is go to amateurgolftour.net, click the Join the Tour button, and pay your local tour's membership.
Thanks, Chris. Membership for 2024 is open, so register today to join the oldest, largest, and best amateur tour in the country.
And remember, this podcast can be found on all the major platforms. So make sure you like, download, and share it with all your friends and family.
Chris, that's a great idea. Now, on to the show.
Welcome to episode 10 of the Golf Week Amateur Tour, the podcast. You're going to have only one host this episode, me, Chris Rocha. Tim had to have some surgery, but he is recovering very well. And we'll have him on the next podcast, episode 11. It's a little sad to not have him on here, but let's get the show started.
Welcome to the Golf Week Amateur Tour, the podcast. We are your hosts, Tim Newman and Chris Rocha. As the oldest and largest amateur golf tour in the country, we put on individual stroke play golf tournaments that are handicapped by flights in 48 cities across the country. The Golf Week Amateur Tour, where amateurs play like pros.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm going to be the only one on this episode. It is going to be a little bit interesting because I am talking to myself. But I hope you hang out with us for the entire episode. If you don't get tired of my voice, we're going to have a special guest on that has been on the podcast multiple times. But today we're going to talk about goals. We've talked about that numerous times. In the last couple of episodes, players have come on and talked about their personal golf goals for the season. We've had tour directors come on and talk about goals. Me and Tim have talked about goals that we have for our tours and for this podcast itself. So we're going to get with Gabe Garcia. We're going to talk about some of our not only tour goals for our personal goals. We both have a senior and Golf Week tour, but also some personal golf goals. So definitely stick around. I hope you enjoy this conversation. And then I'll kind of dive in a little bit deeper on some of my golf goals after we talk with Gabe. So let's hop right into it. All right. So for our guest on this episode, we have a familiar voice. You guys have heard him a couple of times. One of the great tour directors we have in the nation and my mentor, Mr. Gabe Garcia. Gabe, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, glad to join you again. Looking forward to talking with you.
Yeah, so like I was saying before you got on, the last couple of episodes, we've had everyone talk about their goals for 2023, whether it be tour directors, players. Everybody's got some crazy goals. The last episode, I don't know if you heard it or not, but we had the tattoo. And he wants to add more things on his tattoo. So if you don't mind, we're going to talk about some of our goals for our tours and our golf.
For sure. No tattoos. I can assure you of that.
Even though it'd be interesting.
For sure. Maybe that's part of the Ryder Cup this year.
Yeah. Maybe for the losing captain. I still miss that belt, so thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's just start with our tour goals.
Sure.
I know last year you had an amazing year. Topped it off with Tour Director of the Year, and we've talked about that, here on the show. But let's start with Golf Week. I know you and me both run Golf Week and Senior Tours. So let's start with Golf Week. I know you've reached over 200 every year. Is there a number in your head that you kind of want to get to for 2023?
So yes and no. I mean, the simple goal is to try to get to maintain the 200 plus. Every year we're looking to see what we can do to add, different bells and whistles, different contests, different things like that are going to be allured to potential new members. We're doing pretty well this year. We're on pace. We're on the same pace that we were last year. Slightly ahead, combined. And I know we're talking Golf Week only, but combined, we're at 175 members between the Golf Week and the Senior Tour already. And last year at this time, we were at about 165, 168. So overall, we're a little bit ahead of the pace. But as far as a specific number, it's anything over 200. I think that's, once you get there, that's a real high threshold, and to do everything you can just to max it out and to repeat. It's a tough thing because, you do have guys coming in and out. You do have players leaving. You do have players relocating. And so for me, it's more consistency than anything else. And so the simple goal is to reach over 200. Ideally, we'd love to hit our highest ever, which was 218.
Nice. I mean, yeah, that'd be crazy to be over 218. Me personally, the last 2 years, I've hit over 160 both. So I know what you're talking about with consistency.
Yeah.
I think we looked at the director night, and I think I had 163 both years.
Right.
So just needed that one registration to be best of the season. But me personally, I like to see that 170 mark. I think we can get the extra 7 members, hit that 170, and just keep going from there. Should be cool.
For sure. If everyone doesn't know that I started the El Paso tour, and I know what kind of a market that you're dealing with. And so with the guys coming in and out with the military and all that, the fact that you're pushing 160, 170 every year is outstanding. And I think if your players are involved as it seems they are, I think you can do that. And I think that would be an awesome goal for you guys.
Oh yeah. We just had our kickoff classic this past week, and I think there was about 7 or 8 new members just from friends that play on tour that they brought. So, if everybody, like I tell everybody, if you bring 1-2 players, that's easily done.
Yeah.
Every year.
And we want you guys to have as many members as you can so that we can have a competitive Ryder Cup event.
Remember, you got to come down here this year. And
well, so actually, now that you mentioned that is one of our goals. We want to be the first team to travel and keep the cup or keep the belt.
Right. That hasn't happened yet, and it won't happen for a while. So, moving on. Senior tour. I know both of us actually started senior tours at the same time.
Right.
It was one of those conversations that we had on whether we should or shouldn't, and we just kind of took the leap and did it. And we both had successful years first year. But what are you looking for as far as for 2023?
Well, one of the goals that we had is kind of already in place, and now it's just a question of making it as successful as we could, and that was adding a regional event. I think everybody knows about what we do with the TPC Scottsdale Regional, and with the year that we had, the first season that we had on the senior tour, we wanted to try to get a regional championship out here closer, on the west coast a little bit. We are the Western states, and so I wanted to have an event out here, and we were able to do that, and we're off to a pretty good start as far as registrations are concerned. Overall, with membership, we don't want to lose ground. Obviously, we want to surpass the 70 plus players that we had last year, and I'd love to hit 100 in our second season. But again, it's consistency. The first thing is to get back to the same number that we reached last year, and then extend that as much as we can beyond that. And again, we are just a little bit slightly ahead of pace from last year. And so I think, with what we're trying to do and the different things that we're doing, not to mention all of the changes that we've made to the website and helping with players registration and stuff like that, I think we got a great shot at reaching the goals for the senior tour as well.
Let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsor, Srixon.
A great iron set needs more than good looks. It's got to be fast and got to be pure. But good looks never hurt either. The all-new ZX Mark II irons from Srixon.
Nice. Yeah, my goal for senior last year we were around the 25 member mark, which is,
Yep.
in my opinion, outstanding for first year, just barely getting your name out.
Yep.
And we've already surpassed that, and we haven't even had our first event.
Yeah.
So everybody brings a friend. We'll hit that 50 member mark.
Yep.
And, that'd be an awesome goal for me to just to
Yeah.
be over that second year senior tour, and it's nothing that, like you said, our market has seen.
Yeah. Well, and then the other thing though is for us when we started the senior tour last year, and I'm assuming maybe you had kind of the same. I don't want to say challenge. That's not the right word for it, but a lot of our guys that are on the Golf Week tour that are just not quite 50 yet, they didn't find out until late in the season because it was just one of those things that it's a new tour and they weren't sure how it worked. But guys that are 49 going to be 50 before the end of the year are able to get in as well, as long as you're turning 50 before the end of the season. And so we had a lot of guys jump in at the end last year, and knowing that information going into this year has been a big help. So the more information that we can get out, the more that we can, kind of share with them how it works a little bit differently from the regular tour with regards to distances of the tee boxes and things like that. I think now that the core group is in place, building it should be easier now that you've got a good group of guys to start from.
Yeah, definitely. And you bring that up, yardages. I've had a couple questions from guys who want to play both, asking, hey, I'm A flight in Golf Week. What would I be in senior?
Right.
And explaining that you're going to play way closer than you are in Golf Week. So I would probably try champ flight before you get moved up after that first event.
Yeah. But it's funny though, because that adjustment is not as easy as everybody thinks.
Right.
The first time that I played, a 6,000 yard course, I didn't know what to do. And that's an interesting adjustment to have to make. Figured it out. But again, we've had guys, I've been doing this for close to 12 years now, I guess. And, guys that are like, hey, I was in the B flight. I moved up to the A flight. I really can't compete. I don't hit the ball as long as I used to, that sort of stuff. This is that perfect alternative where you can still put up the kind of scoring that you're used to, but from tee boxes that are more fair, I guess, if that's the right way to put it, based on the playing ability and the distance, which is generally the biggest, concern is I just can't keep up with those flat bellies is what we call them. Being able to hit the ball, 300 yards. The senior tour is a great alternative to that. And with growing tours, there's a lot of added benefits for being able to qualify for nationals a little bit easier and things like that. So I think it's a great advantage that people should take advantage of.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because we do hear that all the time.
Yep.
Especially when we didn't have senior tours. Where's the senior group, or where's the 55 and over group?
Yep. Well, we're here now, so come on.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
And just watching and learning from you and how your tours grow, it's showing now over here. And like you mentioned earlier, you started this. I can't imagine having to go range to range to range to range, just passing out flyers and talking to people.
Yeah, handing out flyers, going, look, man, I think this is what it's going to look like. So just trust me. Yeah, that was an experience. But hey, you know what? And, a lot of the guys around this area know how well we work together. But, for all the things that we've done here in Arizona, and I appreciate, the compliment of, guidance and stuff that we try to give. But we never got to 100 before I left. So the things that you guys have done since, it's been amazing. And I'm super proud of the fact that tour isn't just still around. It's grown and it's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah. And like we've talked about on the show before, everyone gets to know everybody.
Right.
Us being El Paso, we're 10 hours away from the next tour going east, but only 5 hours away from you all going west. So
yeah, only you're an island, and I think that geographically people don't realize that until they go there. But some great courses out there. You're putting on some great events, and we're getting ready to add our annual sort of invasion tournament that we do every season, where we send as many guys as we can. I think with we're talking about the goals and the things that we're trying to put together. I know a lot of our players put goals together for what they're trying to do, but I think as directors, to try to find that consistency and to keep small goals in mind is kind of one of the ways to keep motivated and keep, growing your tours.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It has helped. It does help because you can see where you're at and if you're progressing or not.
Yeah.
And if not, what you need to do to change it.
Yeah, and it gives you a chance to check yourself and then, see, what kind of time and effort you're putting in. And we know everybody's got other things going on, but, there's guys that are involved in the tours now that can help. We use our players a lot with regards to recruitment and handing out flyers and different things like that. And when the players take ownership of the tour grows a lot quicker for sure.
Mm-hmm. Now let's move on. You and me both play. I only get to play the golf week while you get to play dual events. But do you have any personal golf goals for 2023?
Okay, so I'm going to put myself out there on this one. At the end of last year, I had a pretty good end of the season and things were tracking, and I'm doing pretty well to start the year. One of the things that I've always wanted to do, and I'm going to take 2 shots at it this year, is I want to win a national championship. I think a lot of people know what happened with me in 2015 when my back went out and I had to leave the tour for a couple of years and all that good stuff. I felt going into that year that I had a real shot, and I feel like I'm just starting to get back to playing at close to that level. And so the idea for this year is to stay consistent, play well, make the adjustments that I need to for the national championship and make a real run at it. And it's not necessarily needing to win it, but, have a strong finish, get into that top 10, top 15, and put myself in a position where on Sunday you just check and see what where you're at. And if you got a shot, try to make something happen for one day.
Yeah. Every year that I've gone, the past 3 years, goal 1 for those 3 days is to make the final group, the final top half.
Yeah.
Because 1, you get to play the better course of the 2. But that's goal number 1. And then goal number 2 after that is to be the top of that. So typically top 50 of that group. And I'm happy with, because it is tough. It is extremely tough to try and win that. But the guys that get it done, I mean, they're solid rounds all 3 days. And as long as you take it day by day, I think you have a good chance of it.
Yeah. And then you just, one of the things that I put out there every year that I want to do, and, I was able to on the senior tour last year, not necessarily on Golf Week, but I did finish the year on Golf Week with a win, but I'd like to win a major on both the Golf Week and the senior tour. That's just one of those things that I shoot for. And eventually, I don't play my own regional at TPC Scottsdale, because if you come out here, you know how much of a monster that is.
I help you. I know how much of a monster it is. And I play, so it's even double monster.
Right, but putting a regional championship under my belt would be a nice thing to do at some point as well.
It was right there last year for me, right there, and the last 2 holes just couldn't pull it off. So it's the adrenaline rush, that's for sure.
Yeah, and so I hope our players are trying to picture a handful of goals that they want to do every year, and shoot for those and create a schedule for themselves that would allow them to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm barely in the B flight. Went kicking and screaming after that TPC regional, but I got to do it. So yeah, I like to win 2 events in B flight. I've already kind of marked Tubac as one of my 2 events, because that's my home course away from home. As
you do have a history there for sure.
Unfortunately, the Ryder Cup, we couldn't pull it off there, but that's another story for another day, hopefully.
But we can tell that story if you'd like.
No. I think we already have. You need to go back a couple episodes if you want to hear it.
Yeah.
And we, here we have a par 4 challenge, which I know you were going to start.
We ran something very similar to that. But the way that you run that, I love the idea, and so we've incorporated that. So I'm guessing you're taking a shot at that for yourself.
I am. I've won in Sea Flight numerous times, and I kind of want to see if I can just focus on at least those holes, even if I'm having a bad round, and get some pars out of it. Maybe a birdie or 2.
Yep. And I'll tell you that with the change that we've made to that format, Our guys are loving it. We're putting the details of it out here this week, so that everybody that's coming in new here lately is, understands the process. But, the fact that it creates an atmosphere where there's more players invested in each flight in that par 4 challenge, and that for us it's the picture perfect contest. But it also incentivizes our players to come out a little more often, and even if maybe they don't get to play as many events as they would like, and maybe the points race is a little out of reach, having something to shoot for in that par 4 challenge to put some money in their pocket at the end of the year is a great thing as well.
Oh, it definitely is. Yep. It definitely is. But yeah, I mean, that's the goals that I kind of have. Our events, I'd like to have on average 50, 60 players an event for Golf Week. Yep. About 30 players for seniors. Just something, that to shoot for. Right. And if we see that those numbers are going low, what can we do to bring it up? Can we have a special raffle? Can we do giveaways, things like that? I told our guys this year, because not a lot of tours do raffles after each event. I know you do a big one at Tubac and at TPC for Stand Up to Cancer. Yep. But we used to do raffles at each event, at least, I want to say about $200, $50 gift card raffles. Right. But this year, what we're going to do is we're collecting all that money, and at our tour final, we're just going to have one big party.
Nice.
With a meal at the end of the day too, and depending on how much we raise for that, get some golf clubs, some golf bags, some rounds of golf at the courses we played, and have bigger prizes than just these little prizes throughout the year.
So what's the date for that
event? The date is in September.
There. I may have to come visit for that.
Yeah, I mean, and what's going to be interesting about it is every event you play, you get an entry fee into that raffle. So if you play all the events, I mean, you're going to have 17 tickets in there to try to win a big prize.
Yeah, very cool. That's awesome.
It'll be at Butterfield. Just throw a little plug out there, September 23rd and 24th. But yeah, everyone's invited. Even if that's your only event you're playing for the El Paso Tour, maybe that one ticket will get you some. Will get you something. You never know. Have my assistant director Thomas touch the ticket, because every time he touches the raffle ticket, he always wins. It's a jinx. It's crazy. But Gabe, I appreciate you coming. Thank you for hanging out with me for a little bit. Any last words you want to put out there? Any plugs or anything like that?
Yeah, well, for us, the big thing for us is the last few years in particular has been the Stand Up to Cancer. We picked up another sponsor that's going to be Sun America, that's going to be helping us with some closest to the pins or hole-in-one bonuses. But they're donating a total of, I believe it's $1,500, and we're going to give away about $300 in bonuses for hole-in-ones, as it pertains to their sponsorship. But anything that we don't end up giving away, they're going to add that to our donation to Stand Up to Cancer. And so this year, I've made it known, and we're going to put a few things out nationally. So keep an ear out for that. But our tour is hoping to raise $10,000 in the calendar year, and we're off to a great start. And so we'll keep you posted on how that's coming together and what we're looking for on that.
Yeah, speaking of Stand Up to Cancer, you encouraged me last year with how much you raised for that organization. We started doing the 50-50 Stand Up to Cancer hole-in-one. We included it in their CTP entry fee, and we're already $50 in.
Yeah,
which is a start. And I just can't imagine where it's going to go. And I might borrow, with air quotes, some of your ideas and do a raffle or
that's
auction here or there.
That's director speak for Steele, but I'm good with it.
And get some of those funds out, because it hits everybody, not just the people who have cancer.
For sure,
we were affected last year.
Yeah, we've got a couple of guys on our tour today that are fighting, and so that adds to the incentive for sure.
Right, definitely. But no, it's a big encouragement. I hope other tours are doing their part. And if not, you need some ideas, definitely reach out to Gabe or myself.
Absolutely. For sure.
And we can get some ideas rolling.
Absolutely.
But no, I appreciate
the
it.
invite. Yeah, for sure.
You have a good night. We'll see you hopefully soon. We need to make an event out there because I missed the Wallow, unfortunately. But I think it was a good thing because your daughter was there and she likes to brag about the Ryder Cup win. And I'm pretty sure you had the belt there.
It might have been lingering around. It's possible.
So yeah, maybe it was a good thing. But we'll see each other soon on the golf course, definitely.
Always, my friend. Look forward to talking with you and seeing you soon.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So what a fun conversation we had. For those of you who aren't at our events, we're always ragging on the Ryder Cup. And we've talked about this before, how a lot of other tours have Ryder Cups around the country. I know California is going to have a Ryder Cup this year, hopefully. They're just a lot of fun. If you haven't played in one, definitely find one, play in it. If you want to come and play in ours, we are always looking for players to fill spots on either team. So definitely reach out. But every time that we're together, we're always ragging about it. I know last year I carried our championship belt everywhere we went. And I know their players were tired of seeing it. And our players love seeing it at every event. And now I get to enjoy I don't even know how to say it. And they enjoy ragging on me, which is well deserved. They just embarrassed us out there at Tubac. So that is one of my goals, is to build a team of El Paso Las Cruces members and take that belt back on our home turf. They're coming to our desert area, and let's see if they can handle the courses we have out here. So there you go, Gabe. Challenge is put out there. Let's see if you can become the first team to win on enemy soil. But like I mentioned before, there's some goals that I have, but I went and I actually dug deep in my stats for 2022, which were actually surprising to me. I didn't think they were as high as they were. Most of 2022, I played in Sea Flight. Did get bumped up in September after the TPC regional, and been playing B Flight ever since. And I'm not gonna lie, it was tough. It was a gut punch, because when you're always on the top of one flight and having to move up, then now you have to battle and you have to work at your craft, at your game. And that's something that I'm gonna have to start doing. So looking at the stats, last year I averaged 33 putts per round, with 12% of those putts being 3 putts or worse. So if I can just eliminate those 3 putts, I think I can bring down that putt per round number. So the goal for that for 2023 is to average between 28 and 30 putts per round. Those extra 3 to 5 strokes will get me from mid 80s to 80, 79, maybe some 78s in there, and compete in the B Flight with those tough competitors. So got to work on my putting. That's to say the least. Definitely have to work on my putting. I thought I was a good putter, but can't have any 3 putts out there. But to help with the 3 putts, I need to increase that green and regulation. Last year I was 32% in green and regulation, which isn't bad for a Sea Flight player. I don't think. I don't know anyone else's stats, but I'm happy with that. But the goal this year is to be 40% or higher. If I can get onto the green and hopefully close to the pin, get some 1 putts in and bring those putts per round down, it'll help. 40% isn't a lot. It's maybe 7 or 8 holes per round. So that's manageable. Definitely manageable, especially, if you take 4 par 3s, and you landed on the green on 4 par 3s, that's already 4 of the 8 holes I need. So definitely something that's manageable. But the way golf is, one thing affects the other, and in order to get the greener reg number pretty high, you have to hit some fairways. And that's something that this number actually surprised me. In 2022, I hit 55% of the fairways, which is crazy because my driver was a project all year long. But I think with course management and not after going with driver every single hole, and getting a good number off the tee box to have a comfortable yardage number going into the green, which if I landed on the green close to the pin and can one putt, all these goals are easily something that I can achieve for 2023. So fairways hit, I want to average between 60 and 65%. And then like I said with Gabe, win 2 events in B-Flight, top 3 in B-Flight points, win our par 4 challenge, which, we have some solid B-Flight players, so that's going to be a tough one. And top 50 at Nationals, which would be fun. That would be an accomplishment for me. So goals, if you haven't set them yet, if your season hasn't started, whether it's recreational golf or tournament golf, I would definitely recommend set some goals, write them out. If you can see them, they're easier to achieve as opposed to just thinking about it. I've always heard that, write out your goals, whether it be trips you want to go to, home repairs you want to make, savings you want to do. If you write out the goals and put them in a place where you can see them every day, it's easier to accomplish those goals or those dreams you may have in life and in golf. Being on these tours, golf isn't just a sport to most of these members. It's something that brings memories. Maybe it can bring peace. It can bring restore. It can just give you that time to put all life's problems away and just have a great time with buddies for 4 to 5 hours. And can't get any better than that. So I hope everybody enjoyed this short episode, it being episode 10. But for episode 11, Tim should be back, hopefully, as his recovery is getting better every day. And we'll celebrate the proper way with 10 episodes when Tim gets back. But again, hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you all in 2 weeks. And remember, set those goals for 2023 so that at Nationals, when we're all there, we can get together and talk about if we achieve them or not. Have a good one. Talk to you soon.
Chris, we didn't do it again.
What didn't we do?
We didn't say how to join the tour.
That's right. It's simple. All you need to do is go to amateurgolftour.net, click the Join the Tour button, and pay your local tours membership.
Thanks, Chris. Membership for 2024 is open, so register today to join the oldest, largest, and best amateur tour in the country.